an episode, so I can't really understand it.
The live action film?
Bro, literally they're making another one.
Yeah, this one's supposed to be good
No,
though.
they're all, both of them are like 3 hours long.
They're making another. No. Last Airbender.
I don't know.
Not the stupid blue
Yeah, I know
monkeys.
Bro,
Maya thinks the actor
I
who
watched
plays
that.
Jake is
I
like
haven't
really
seen
hot.
that. But here's the thing.
I think it's just
Here's
one of
the
those
thing.
pride things for
I
me. It's like,
looked back on that.
even though there's
Because
nothing
when I
wrong with
turned it
watching
on the other day, and I realized how racist it is. Because he's a little black kid, and then he's like, "What am I?" And they were playing charades, animal version, and he's like, "Mom."
Logan makes so many jokes like that. It's like all over the place.
No, I want to see
Where is that guy?
him. That's my question. Where's his phone?
we gave him a phone.
Never used it.
I feel like that's better than him being a
I was gonna say that's probably the best problem you could have. Yeah, fun sounding instrument, I tell you. I like it.
They did that on the side going out of paradise on the day of the fire.
You let me know when that babe comes around. I'm excited to see pictures and sniff its scalp. There's something about brand new baby scalps.
It's something else. I don't know how they do it.
You gotta be pheromones or something. It's gotta be the amniotic fluid. It's gotta be. There's this thing called lanugo. It's on the baby when they're born. It's like you don't want to wash it off. I don't know what it is about Western culture about bathing babies within hours of them coming out.
Get them all clean.
Yeah, but lanugo is like this waxy, viscous substance that kind of binds to the skin.
Okay.
And it keeps the skin moisturized, and also starts to help promote the natural flora, bacterial flora that comes on the baby, which maintains skin integrity because their skin is so paper thin. Yeah. But it has a smell. And it's that smell. It's that it's that new baby smell, and it baffles me because you bathe them, and then you buy soaps that try to make that smell.
To mimic the smell.
It's like they're
fresh eggs.
everywhere.
Yes.
You wash the wax off.
Anyways, yeah, I'm super
No,
excited
what-
for you,
what do you
and
find-
let me know if there's anything you need.
Okay, we'll do.
Like, why?
I appreciate you being ready.
Yeah.
Because it could be today mid-service.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Keep me in touch. I'm on the group. I'm not very vocal on
Sure.
text or anything, but I'm always I'm a lurker.
Yeah,
I'm just I'm a low-key lurker.
I take no offense.
Well, enjoy the luge.
Thank you. Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, Aiden. Good morning, Daniel. Bye, Judah.
I only saw Danny and Judah.
Daniel,
Yeah.
could we write it after now?
A little bit.
A little bit, write it?
Yeah.
Nice.
I never.
I miss you too.
If I do,
I only went to the mall because my mom was like, okay, we can either go to Walmart or go look at Bath and Body Works. So like, I really
The
don't.
only store that I really go to there is Big Five. I want to look at shoes.
You're like, yeah, all of it.
I live with my
Alright, so basically, I got 3.5 hours of sleep last night.
At least you got
And
it.
I'm still running. Yeah, and basically,
That's me. The less I
I
sleep,
just
the more I
go
do.
last
more
night.
energized.
And then then like the next week you're like,
No, sometimes when I sleep like a lot, I'm more
I haven't
tired.
done that. I've never
Like,
had
I'm
right, because you wake up at like
I have
9.
ADHD. I don't purposely choose to wake up at 9.
You can set an alarm.
My body's just like, I'm up now.
Yes,
I Overwatch.
it's not Kira's fault. It's her body.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't. If I could, I probably actually would choose.
I'm sorry, this doesn't track with like Christian theology, Kira.
Well, then I get the good hours with my friends on Overwatch. My friends that I've never actually met before.
doing my nails. It was like 2 in the morning.
I wake up around 7:30 because all my
Waking up the same time every morning. When times I wake up the same time every morning, it's what my body does. I don't choose to wake up at all.
Oh, I heard all moment.
I just wake up. Yeah.
well, you're never. So here's the thing with me.
Morning, Carter.
I feel like
Fixing it up.
Yep, got our new yoga
I
mat.
didn't know if you brought it.
Taping it back on with my delightful,
I
large
just said K.
3-inch gaffer tape.
So here's the
This
thing.
is gaffer
No, I
tape.
actually bought it.
No. Feel it. It's gaffer tape.
Never had.
It's absolutely different on the adhesive and the backing.
But
It costs a lot more too.
Why?
Because it's different. And they use it for movies, so that always makes things cost more.
no, I
Because they know that professionals will pay more for the good stuff. It does 2 things different from duct tape. It sticks different
Yeah, my mom was like.
because
"What
the
do you want
adhesive is actually just plain old
That's
rubber.
how I am.
I don't know what
It's
I want
not
for Christmas.
glue.
Like,
It's not
all
a glue.
life.
It's just gum rubber.
No,
It hasn't
literally, she's
been
like,
given its outer coating. So it sticks like fresh hot rubber right out of the back, basically. And then the back is fabric with vinyl embedded in it, so it's waterproof and not shiny. Not shiny is key, because if you're on a movie set and there's shiny things, then you're gonna see little shines passing through the scene when someone like moves a microphone or moves rigging, and like they can't have that and messes up the shot.
Yeah.
So
So if they're using tape or anything, they need it to not show.
not be showing. Yeah. They want to hide the fact that there's any tape on scene at all.
Yeah, and so they'll make it like the same color as the tape.
Correct. This comes in every color. That's it. You can get it every color: black, purple, red, yellow,
It's just
orange.
white.
Literally, I was like there, and then
Yeah,
I looked
it's a
and
kind of
saw
a
on
custom
the
product.
back
You can
that
get it in
it
every
said
width.
TV. I'm like,
It's not just inductive width. It does come in that width. That's the standard width.
no.
But you can get it in 3-inch like this. This is for putting cables down to the ground, so your cables don't trip
I was like,
people.
I think
You can stick them anywhere you want and just run this right over top, and it's fat enough to go around the cable and still have some flat to go
oh
on
my
the
gosh, why do you like that? Like, what's the point of that? I'm like, that's not that for you. Stop. I carried like rude about it. Come on.
Yeah, and the movie people, they're all rich, so they'll pay.
Yeah, they'll pay whatever they have to. 3M used to make this, the one that makes a lot of tape products like Scotch tape and stuff. And when they quit, the rolls of original 3M gaffer tape started fetching like $50 and $60 prices online until they ran out. Because a lot of the companies that first popped up to make knockoff
So
gaffer
then you
tape,
decided to play on the floor with dinosaurs?
they were not good tape. And you could not use it for all the same jobs. It
I was
would
like
tear
classic Micah.
when you didn't want it to tear. It would leave goo on your cables. And Hollywood is reusing its cables. They're not throwing those cables away. They have very expensive cables. And so if you leave goo all over them, then they collect dirt, they start to stick to things, they tie themselves in knots worse. And that's one of the beautiful things about this is you can put it on carpet, you can put it on paint, anything, and as long as you leave it for like 5 days in the sun, the rubber's still rubber when it's done. You just peel it up, it comes off.
And it comes in every color, you know, one set in every color, and then it has no patterns.
We were gonna go to
We call it
somewhere one
gaffer tape. We
year,
use it
but then we
on
got
stage
sick,
too
and
for
we
like
had
concert
to
and
go.
stuff. Concert people, sound guys, they're always using gaffer tape. So this is one of the only companies that makes the good stuff, and it's not stupid expensive. It's still not expensive.
I'm 12 and I'm taller than this.
Let's go.
And plus, you know, we had the sets behind there, they're probably making $1 million spent on the tape.
Oh, heck yeah.
I'm the only one
And
who's
you can buy
from
the
my
tape,
mom, and I grew like.
and then just use it on the next 10 movies. You can just like buy it for that one movie.
Like, I'm like, oh my god.
Still seems short.
Yeah, you don't have to buy one roll of tape.
It's not my fault. I'm 12.
You invest in a collection of gaffer tape.
Like my arm.
So you have all the colors in advance.
Have all the colors in advance, and then so then you're making a lot more money on the movie.
Yeah, theoretically, you should never spend more on tape than making it in the movie. It'd be terrible.
I want to do a 360.
The only thing I find weird is how does I was like, how does Wilson spin it?
Oh, I'm not done yet. I'll tape it down further, make it tighter around the wheels.
Now,
Because there's only these ones right here. I'm gonna do ones right here. This one, no. Really tuck tack it down.
Has anybody ever gotten injured on this?
Injured? A little. Mostly the wolves.
Oh.
Because our last yoga mat was like on there for 4 or 5 years. And so the end started tearing. You ever ridden a snowboard? You ever ridden a snowboard for reals, like in the snow? They have a metal edge around the board. So like the middle's waxy and plasticky. So it's slidey, but the edge is like a knife, so that when you try to turn, you lean hard and you cut into the snow with that metal edge. And so it makes you don't keep sliding like a sled. You actually dig in like an ice skate. And so we didn't remove the metal, it's really hard to separate it. And so when the pad wears out, the metal starts to poke through, and when you hit the wall with metal, it doesn't matter if you're going 2 miles an hour or 20 miles an hour,
It
metal
still dents the wall.
and 100 pounds of
We
kid
learned that.
go into the wall.
We learned that it dents
So we have
the
2
wall.
scars in the wall.
With the 2
From
dents in the
October
wall.
We should do downhill racing and
Because
put
the
the
yoga
wind
mat was worn out, which is why I'm
real
replacing the
downhill
yoga mat
racing.
now, because it needed it. It needed to have a new one. And yeah, if your fingers were in between the wall and the metal, not a good time. Not a good
You're
time.
not having any more fingers.
Not anymore.
I mean, what is
Your
the
fingers
first
are gone.
You lost your finger privilege.
Bro, me and Abby have like the worst condition every single
Let's do downhill
week.
racing and whoever wins gets to do real.
Right, Abby?
We should not do any more
Gets to try out a free ambulance ride.
We learned that with your Why is there so many high schoolers?
That's, I think that's what he meant. Like, whoever wins at Zapkus gets to try
Oh yeah, Krista.
on a real hill.
Oh wait, no, my bad.
Which would not be good.
No, well, I mean, some people actually do that professionally. They modify longboards to do downhill speed racing on the longboard. And some people do it standing up, and that's insane. Because turning, it's insanely difficult, and you do it by drifting. So you have to wear special gloves. The gloves have Teflon pads. So like Teflon's like what you put on the bottom of ice when you're using a computer mouse, you know, the little slippy white parts. Sometimes they're black. So you get a glove, and the palm is just a big puck. It's like a hockey puck of Teflon, super thick. And when you go to turn on a longboard going downhill, you're going like 60 miles an hour. on a board. So as you turn, your whole body can lean over sideways, and the board is like,
Kind of.
And the board is.
and your
like,
hands are down. Your hands are on the ground.
But they make it.
So you can make the turn at 60, and as you come out of the turn,
I feel
the
like
G's
we
pull
both
you
have
back up.
Okay.
So you go all the way down to the ground, touch the ground with your Teflon gloves. You're sliding across the blacktop with your mouse pad hands, and then you stand back up again. The other way to do it is you actually start laying down. You do the whole thing on your back, and you're just leaning the whole time.
Exactly.
You can't actually turn sharp though when you're doing it that way, as you could if you were standing. Rematting the board. The old mat was coming undone quite a lot.
Yeah. I was
You
thinking
have to tape it down quite a bit, or else it rubs on the wheels. And if it rubs on the wheels, you slow down a lot faster as you go down the hall. It just adds like that.
I stay the same.
No, that's
Yeah,
not
that
right.
one's still rubbing.
No moving the
I think it's
phone.
actually just off center. I think I take it off center so there's less here and more here.
I think it's mainly because it just gets me so.
Abby, Isabel lives near us. That's not.
Yeah, I get tired.
Daddy!
Or but if you just tape it this way, it would make the bubble go away.
What were you guys doing in the
Because it's not taping it. So just trying to scooch it around. So there's less bow on this side. It's one of the only.
I imagine Aiden's gonna become the president just like Joe Biden did. Because
No.
And Danny's gonna be like the vice president. Danny's gonna be the vice president.
Bro, I was
It'll
thinking,
eventually come undone though.
and then I was thinking, no,
I say that all the time.
It's not as long.
I was thinking last night.
Also, this was free. I had a snowboard lying around. It was an old garbage snowboard with
No, I know.
with like broken.
I was there.
So you'd have to buy
I
new
was
clips
thinking,
to keep snowboarding.
like the last night, I was
And then
thinking.
my sister
What Ryan
worked at a skate shop back when I did this, and so she got me the trucks at cost and the wheels
I
at
went
cost.
ching chong.
So I didn't have to spend full price on this bit. And these are way cheaper than the snowboard. I don't know why. Snowboard parts are up here and longboard parts are down here.
The professionals pay a lot more.
Well, yeah. I wasn't gonna buy pro. Plus, I don't snowboard.
And also, you can only do it at certain times. So like
In certain places.
in certain places, you have to be desperate to like buy these, so they're gonna charge more. But you have to buy it here because they can only do it now. And then after the season, it's like a lot.
Yeah.
So like
Because my
you
parents
pay
would
more
make
and get away with it. But then like from like the all year-round boards, they're not as expensive because people will
Yeah.
buy year-round.
Well, and when you're going to a skate shop that sells year-round, there's usually a lot more of like a mix of cheap stuff and expensive stuff. So you can actually find cheap parts, leftovers, things they don't want.
What does everyone do at the
Snowboard
mall?
places tend to not have a bunch of stock.
Oh yeah, that guy. I know. I told him that. Go. Wait, and then he looks at like real girls. Like the old guy. He just walks around the mall.
I am so, that is so weird that we all know him.
Yeah.
I see him every time.
Bobby had a thing with him
And
down
then
there.
the trucks turn.
The old guy.
Yeah, I really
How do we all know him? You worked in the mall?
This is just bigger and bendier, but it works just like a longboard. The difference is because it's so bendy, if you stood both feet in the middle, you would touch the ground. No, the snowboard won't break. It's a snowboard. It'll hold you. It's meant to bend. It's just that it's not meant to have 3 inches of height under the tail. So like that would be, it'd be like standing on the snowboard in a gully of snow. When it's right before you, it just bends the board. So then you just bottom out and you stop moving.
I got.
So you have to stand on your feet up and get your feet over the trucks. Or what we really used it for, what we designed it for, was lay down. We designed it so you can lay down. I put this whole mechanism on the back because it's supposed to be a quick release. It's supposed to stick a rope with a loop that's a bungee cord. We bought the bungee cord. And then you have like strong adults up front, it stands like the posts on the slingshot. And then you have the kids pull back, and the bungee's going through the truck.
Staples so stiff.
And then the pullback rope is right here on the quick release. And then you have someone pull the pin, and the quick release goes. And then you
my
go
dad
flying on
accidentally
bungees.
mixed up
It didn't
Big
work
Five
for 2
and-
Yeah,
reasons.
you told
One
us.
was the adults weren't strong
They
enough.
told us.
What we really needed to do was like auger in bolts into the brick walls. Because when you get like a line of 12 kids and you put 2 strong adults, that doesn't work. It doesn't matter if there's bungees. It's like a tug of war. 2 strong adults versus 12 kids. Plus, the 12
You
kids
act
or
like
whatever,
you never
even if it's
make
5
mistakes,
kids,
and
they're
then
pulling
you're
in a straight
not
line.
mad.
The adults are trying not to be pulled together.
Okay, let's do it.
As well
Okay,
as
okay,
not pulled
okay,
back.
okay.
You
And then
are
you put a V of rope behind them.
The reason I
And they
laughed
have
at
to
the
try and
joke
fight
is
these kids
because
pulling
how
this
much
way.
you guys
Eventually
laughed.
they get
If
pulled
none
together
of you laughed, I would
harder than they get pulled back.
Yeah, it's probably.
And so,
No,
like, we had,
no, it's funny
when we
how
first
much
did
you
this the
guys
first year,
think
we
it's
had
funny.
a 300
No,
guy
I guess stop
in
it.
our
Really not.
leadership. Like, one of our guys was 300 pound giant guy.
Yeah,
Couldn't
I
do it.
was broken.
It was too strong.
My mind just
So we need like actual bolts through the brick walls and cement to hold that in the slingshot. And I have to
Alright,
do
who's
this.
what?
This is a fatal problem. When you pull straight back dead center,
The
it doesn't
amount
let
of
go.
girls at
Even with the locking
this
pin.
year who thought Logan was
So if you unlock it, who cares?
And I know! Your brother
So we had
is
to
so
not
hot!
pull up. We had to get someone to
So
pull
wait, it just
this.
goes like this?
And honestly, when you put the force of like 10 kids pulling back versus one little string, the 10 kids win. I still couldn't get the quick release to quick release. Like I can stop it right now with my finger. You know what I mean? Like it was really easy to stop the 10 kids.
Why
So I
did
just
you
needed, I
say
already
that?
ground this down with a file to make it the shape it is. It needed more. It needed extra grinding. The problem was once you get to that point where it's easy to quick release, this is what stops it. And if this is what stops it, you can't get the pin out. Because now it's pulling on the pin.
So just
So this is just a bad thing. It was never meant to be a quick release. I was trying to modify it into a quick release. I needed just to like stand up and go like a real quick release. Because they made quick release where it's two hooks like this.
But the thing is,
And when
it
you
would be
pull the
weird
pin
if I
in,
thought he
they let go. And it's designed to be like zero friction.
I set you up. There.
And I just didn't spend much time to make it.
I'm the only one that gets to use
$8 not a great
I'm not
strategy.
sure it could have been.
Maybe it was a better engineer.
like if we had
I have a certain set of skills. I can modify hardware parts into whatever I want.
but they won't end up being the best. I can modify. What doesn't make it work?
Quality based on.
No, I meant D&D. I didn't
That
think
was
so.
so.
I played Fortnite
Okay, now Chris.
Then I played
No!
I really like to get.
He's talking about Fortnite. Then I played a peace control map, and then I played normal battle royale and some ranked, and got 9 kills off the bat. And then some random dude.
every time. Like every time when you're
So good. Who's after Alan?
Okay.
Oh, I can play some.
So if we kept going after junior high, you would never beat me. Even though we're both going
Then it
at
would
the
have
same
tears in
time.
it. It would start
Because
to
I went to junior high.
I just saw. Let's go.
I went to junior high first.
Oh, that.
That means I'll always be.
Yeah, I don't know how to make it not run permanently.
And then I have C.
I have seen
Addie or
everybody has seen.
Right, but you get on it and it's gonna flex around. So just go.
Addie.
CRCC.
I don't know. There's just a big.
Okay, let me see. Let me see.
Krista, what happened to your finger?
Yeah.
It's right right under the other one.
CRU. Why? Why not?
I'm gonna tighten it up by pulling.
I can't always shoot you kind.
I have PTSD. No, stop. Please, stop.
I think you won. That guy didn't stand a chance. So beastly.
Bro, we played this so much
No,
at family
please
camp.
don't. It was annoying.
No, not this family camp, the other family camp.
How many families you got, Alan?
No.
That's fun. Families or something.
CRU.
I want Logan to be here. I miss Bubby.
You'll be okay, Kira.
Aiden doing this.
Huh?
You'll be okay.
So I'm assuming some of the problems with the fake octane tape would be it would pressure the tear and try to tear it, but then when you didn't try to tear it, you just tear it.
That's exactly what it is.
No,
The
please
one that
don't.
really annoys me is in the knockoff tape.
No!
The
I have a life. I have a family.
fabric that's in the tape is slightly dagged. So you can
I got
never
a
tear
little.
Okay, you have to see us.
You have to look at the fabric and see
The
if
time
it's
that you
going
hit
to go
Simon
this
in
way.
the eye, I was actually about to kill you.
It's so annoying. Like just a little bit. You can do this blind. You can do it in the dark. You can do it while you're looking somewhere else. Because it's straight. So you just know which way to tear. It's always straight.
What?
It always works. Okay, that is just that little.
What do you mean you cough?
Move! Get off the table!
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I think those tips
Yeah!
anyways.
CRU, CRU, CRU. C. I was C. Just a
So
C.
it doesn't matter about that. And plus, what's the point of
You're out.
We have a longer so long. I feel like
I want the.
by now.
I agree.
Why stop it
Like
long?
it's like kicking a ball.
Oh, bro. Oh,
Does this
Yep,
spell
you're out.
happening? No, I invented this.
Like you said, maybe a longer board?
It's a CRU to C.
Now we have a skateboard, we have a longboard, now we have the longer board.
What? Wait,
bro. Alo got mad at me because you know that I just beat this.
yeah.
Alo got mad at me because I did that. Yeah.
And it doesn't stick to
Why
the
hate
goal with like normal tape ever.
She just got mad at me.
Yeah, this is
That's how I
pretty
feel
cool
like
because
I'm
it's rubber and not adhesive. It's pretty
So she was
fresh.
over and then I
So it
did
doesn't stick like poison.
Yes, I win.
Oh.
Yeah, until you
And then it goes into the little microstructure of
Who's
whatever
playing?
stuff to. It means that you can actually go around itself, like stick it to tape, and it won't stick. It'll give you a little bit of working tack where it's barely attached, and then if you smooth it in,
Watch out.
the rubber goes into all the little holes, and it sticks really good. And so you have like you have good workability. You can make it do what you
I
want,
was even good at that.
but it's not just sticking to everything.
Yeah, C. I'll C.
It also doesn't lose very much.
Right?
That's another really
After you
touch it enough.
You've oiled it, and now it's
like the
done.
rotation.
Good night. You don't have working tape
One time,
anymore.
but now with this, it's like
It doesn't care as much because it is just rubber. As long as you can smush it harder onto what you want it to stick on, it'll still stick.
Micah, wait. Everyone
so
stop.
like
Everyone
if
stop.
you got a starting to attack, and then all you need to do is just add
Why don't we just
Yeah, what's your No,
I don't think I'd ever go that far. It'd probably destroy my gun. But it would still stick.
Oh my god.
I would love to see what a roll of tape does in a hydraulic press. The little ribbons that come out as you smash it to the final millimeter.
Alright, move back so that people
You
can
just-
run around the table.
You're undefeated.
Well, I can do that.
Impressive.
Farther than the other one.
I mean, yeah, this side's great. That side sucks.
Yeah.
I thought all this excess lead would like make this side the hard side. Not this side.
Go, Danny.
Oh, you know what it is?
It's because of this.
There's no wood past the truck on this side, and there is.
Yeah.
It's like forcing.
I mean, I just see.
I should have almost gone around the wood.
That's embarrassing.
But now we just do
My god. Embarrassing.
I wish.
I'm loving it.
I feel like,
I need to cut some off.
what's her name?
Yeah.
Zoe. Zoe's one of the
Should have
best.
done it.
I got so much
Be
sleep
like
last
big
night.
straight cut with the tape.
You're one of the best additions to the junior high.
It's easier to do this.
Yeah. I know. Elbow drop.
Snowboard's fun.
Oh my god.
You put a hole in the wall.
He did put a hole in the wall. Look at that.
Okay, we both got a letter.
That's actually 2 letters.
No, I got a letter.
Yeah, little Debbie.
For who?
Yeah, you call it in short of that. Is it already rubbing again?
Who's on?
Dang it.
It's Adam.
I wonder.
Who am I on?
Hannah.
started, right? Yeah. Then yeah, you're
List the thickness of a yoga mat on the website because it's like
Oh, wait, I'm after
they're not expecting you to build stuff out of it. They're
I mean, I
expecting-
think that's
They list qualities like
Oh, no way. That was nasty.
lightweight.
Okay, that's a redo.
Lighter the weight.
I'm like, what are the dimensions?
Yeah, we need to know
Do I
how
have to
thick
go?
it's gonna be.
Just double check
Yeah,
it.
I should redesign this. I should put longer bolts,
Maybe everyone.
and I should stick like a
Be
flange
like my brother. I asked
that
him
goes
I read.
He said no,
on
that's
the wheels to like trap the yoga mat inside of it.
Let's football. Go.
Why aren't I doing fix
I'm the only one.
It's still gonna work out there. It's just like you won't get that crazy slow motion roll at the end. Because like that's what happened on October 31st when we played with it. Even the roping.
See, I'm not the only
I
one.
did this taping like a bunch of times to get it straight.
So stop,
And
boy.
you'd go fast at first, and then you'd slow down.
No,
and
it's
you'd
not.
keep
It's
going
No.
at like 0 miles an hour.
Oh yeah.
Wait, is it my turn?
Wouldn't stop. And so
Micah,
you could
you
like
laughed so
everyone's
bad.
cheering for you, screaming like because you're trying to hit the bowling.
like my
What?
It looks like you're not moving, but you're still moving.
Interference. It's my turn.
And so this is probably going to go almost as far. So when you get there, probably should stop. Because there's like,
It's my turn.
see, the problem is though the tape is flexible. So you got to understand, you're trying to tighten a balloon, it's going to go right back to shape. So like if you tighten it this way and you use less tape than yoga, you can possibly stretch it this way. And likewise, you can stretch it this way.
You gotta stay on the
But you
floor.
can't stretch it this way because you're just taping along the same.
Krista.
That's why I did this right here. I was trying to tape it to another piece tighter. It wasn't enough
No, it's
to be launched from one end of the hall to the other and put bowling pins and try to knock
you
them down
left.
their heads.
Oh, is there gonna be something on it?
Yeah. You guys seriously should have been here for the party.
It was so amazing. We made 2 density.
You failure.
I was busy. One was pretty big.
Bro, it took me more time.
Let's go, Hannah.
Yeah, but it's all the same thing you're taping to. So at no point can you really like over tighten. That's why I was saying you should have taken off some of that and maybe less. Because then when you tighten it, it would be flatter. But now it's just gonna run into itself.
What am I at?
Maybe let's just try getting up.
CRU is a CRUD.
Yeah, Daniel, we could do a practice.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
maybe like once it pushes down, it stays for a little while.
We really should do a practice.
Oh yeah, it works. That's nice.
Yeah, it just slows down. That's all.
What are you at?
It's like 2 the
Yeah, that's it. You're
I
out.
still like the original.
I'm gonna take this down. I was asking.
Just try getting in the hallway. I'll go stop you.
You thought, are we trying it? Let's go. This will go to yo-yo practice. Yeah. I paused your game until you left.
Anthony. Hi. Come back.
Are you on the 3rd bar? Give me the.
No. Oh, yeah, I got the Krista.
I would have to you.
No, sorry. I'm sorry.
Wait, what's your skill?
Oh,
I got a move. What?
Go, Krista.
My bad. Oh, jeez. No! No, you put what on here? Oh my gosh. Yes! Abby, you're out.
no, that's a CRU.
Oh my. No, I just got. Oh.
Oh.
Kristen's out.
Are you out?
Yeah, I'm out.
All right, so I take Okay, that
I have a seat.
I'm amazing
Do I
at
have
bowling, so
anything?
this
Yes,
works.
I have a seat. Oh.
Are-
Not true. Okay. All right.
You never see me bowl. I'm amazing at it. Last time I went, I got 27, including a strike.
Oh my gosh. Yes. 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 Woo. Oh, no.
No, actually, I'm really bad at bowling.
I am too.
Go. You're out.
Zox.
I thought I was. Yeah, you're right. I was.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think so. Abby. It is your
What's my phone?
Yesterday, I was riding on the back of the truck, and we were on the side of the mountain. Like, if I start to fall, where am
I'm
I?
up for Hannah, like always.
So I was
Move it,
thinking my plan, right? And then all of a sudden, my dad pushes me into the
I have
tree.
CR now.
Apparently, we almost died on the way here.
Wait, what?
My mom like turned back. We were almost in Chico. She's like, "Hey, Addie, you have your seatbelt on, right?" I was like, "Yeah." She's
Go,
like,
go, 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 go. Move it. That's illegal. No. CRU.
Bro, I actually thought you were gonna throw it for a second.
Oh my gosh. I almost got it.
You did. My favorite thing
Yay!
to do to
You're out.
to
Wait.
I'm
Oh.
always like, girls, come here.
CRU. No, CRU. No, stop.
Stop.
No. Yes. I'm CRU. No, I'm CRU.
You just say that like 2
No,
seconds ago.
you.
No, I said CRU. CRU.
Yeah.
Wait, it's sudden death now.
No, you said we all have CRU right before you.
No, I said CRU.
Yeah, that's your.
No. What are you talking about, Liz? It's sudden death.
No.
Yes.
Also, you can't have an orange sudden death.
I know. That's what I'm looking for. The Red Bull.
I feel like you can have yellow.
Exactly.
No, red.
That's burgundy. Alright, ready? That's true. True red.
Does it has like your name or something on it?
No. Yeah. peach in it.
Oh.
Not so fast, Buckaroo. Everybody hates peach in it. I got it.
But I used to be really bad.
Eat it, stop.
Like my dad works at.
I didn't even hit it. You didn't put it in him.
Okay.
Sunday, the fever's out. We don't know what you lost. No, I didn't. Wait.
You totally did, Dan.
What are you talking about, Willis? Move! Move! Up! You're out. I win. You lose. I win.
Yeah.
You're bad. Are we playing again?
Yes.
Yeah. I go first. I'm after.
You're playing.
Who am I after?
You're not playing.
Everyone. Okay, wait. All right. Wait, your name? It's name.
Well, actually, he's gonna
Wait,
make,
are you named?
he's gonna come over to the Bible study.
Wait, what is your name?
Yeah, he's gonna make us do Bible study. So like,
All right, Anthony.
No,
Daniel, me, Carter, Anthony.
All right, guys, hold on. Oh, wait, are you trying
I
to do
told
it?
you.
Okay, nope. Grab a Bible. Grab a chair.
Oh, we already started though.
No, that's not true.
I need to.
Carter, you were out of the room.
What's your name on fire?
we started.
We started.
Thanks.
That sounds
No,
accurate.
sit on one of these green seats. No, sit on the red roof.
Mr. Anthony, please use one chair.
I'm gonna go sit with all last
Chris Classic needs to be
Micah, you should
One singular
Thank you.
chair per person.
I'm kidding.
I don't think any of you are Trinity.
But I will accept it.
Oh, what's so
I'm sitting with the class clown.
Thank you. That's
I'm not that much of a class clown.
You are the class.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
How?
Oh, I'm right here.
Yeah, lucky that you're next to me.
What is the rule?
If you're here, yeah, you did. You do self-control. That is something we've learned very much in our house.
You act like
Guys, what's the rule?
Antonio has wonder why. And tell me. I wonder why.
I never do anything wrong.
Wait, really? Why he does everything wrong.
Wait, guys, I got this.
Whenever Michael, why is the light bulb out? This one. Hey, Mike.
Uh-oh.
Can I throw it and see what happens? Can I throw my Bible and add it? No! Because it might turn back on.
I don't.
Oh my god, so many videos of people like hitting the fans and it goes off and they're just
Okay,
like.
Micah, I think that you might need a switch.
Yeah, have you seen the video
Yeah,
where
Micah,
the
we
guy
might need a switch.
translate and turns it to French?
I have double My mom handed me a Bible thinking she's gonna get
That light bulb is.
I just looked at the right page.
Micah,
I don't like
Why is it
I
going
feel
down
like
so
you should.
slow?
Yeah, you should. It always turns out Anna, can you fix the light bulb? It's out.
Get a new one.
Yeah,
You act like
the
I'm-
one, the hanging one. Yeah. You might want to go sit over there.
It's different than all the others. Oh no, they're all different. Well, no,
Why
some
don't
of
you
them are
ever
different, some of them are
That's
not.
definitely not going on. If it doesn't.
Yeah, it usually it's blown out.
Special though. It's got like a little.
It's blown out. That's what happened to
Yeah,
ours.
you always sit behind me.
What happens
Did
to
the
like
Logan's always sitting over there.
little turning switch?
Yeah, Logan's just always sitting over there.
Sometimes people just play with it.
I didn't even see that. This is like 2 whelps with potatoes.
Oh, I know that song. What is it from?
Veggie Tales.
What's that sound for you?
Veggie Tales. Veggie Tales. Veggie
Yeah, I think
Tales.
he should
Veggie
do
Tales.
it.
That's why I said
I have double
Nothing
notes.
ever works.
I don't know you guys.
No, 'cause I'm so third trying.
Be glad.
It's Anthony. He said something.
What did he say?
I warned things we will not repeat.
We're not going to repeat that.
Oh, I thought you meant like a switch.
I don't think you should tell anybody. I don't think you should tell anybody. Where are we? Second?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know, you grabbed it.
I did not grab this.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did. No, Micah.
It's like very
Exactly.
I've seen more VeggieTales than my children. I know more VeggieTales songs than my children. I see no problem with this.
Where did I?
All right, guys, we are going to be starting up a new book today. We are in 2nd Chronicles. We finished 1st Chronicles last time. What's up?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2nd Corinthians is a different book. Don't go looking for 2nd Corinthians. We're not going to be there.
2nd Chronicles.
We're in 2nd Chronicles.
Why are you using the mic? I'm not hearing you without it.
We're using the mic because there's more ears. That's how it works, right? More ears soak up the sound more.
It's wrong.
So if there's more ears, you have to be more loud.
No.
So it's physics.
Physics, right.
I know where you live. I know where he lives too. I also know where he's building his house.
Oh yeah, I knew.
Oh yeah, we all know where you live, Daniel. We all.
I knew
Yeah, that's okay. If you guys ever need anything, you can come over to my place.
You're using stucco on the walls.
How would you know that exactly? There's no stucco on the walls.
Well, see,
Come Monday, there will be.
we drove past it, and my mom
Bro,
was
I got
like texting
considered
me
bad.
because she had been
You could
texting
just, like-
Emily.
Oh, okay.
It was like, oh, so like there's this thing that they use on walls called stucco, and a lot of people rebuilding it, like rebuilding their houses, are using it.
Yeah.
So
It's cheap. It's fast. It's very water and fireproof. So.
Daniel,
Yeah.
where's Emily?
She's at home with my 2 sick children.
Technically 3, one of Bunny's sick.
I don't know if Bunny's sick.
What if Bunny?
I don't think Bunny's sick because Emily's not sick.
What if Bunny?
How would the germs get to Bunny without going through Emily first?
Bunny?
We nickname all of our children before they're born because we don't pick out their names precisely. We don't like lock them in until they're born. We like to meet them first, and so each kid had a different nickname. So like Jane was Junebug, and Emma was Pup, and so the third one is now Bunny.
That's baby's name.
And we'll see what the real name ends up being. It's not gonna be Bunny.
Oh.
It'll be weird.
What if it?
Although my 3-year-old is voting that the real name is Bunny. Like she wants it to stay Bunny. That's her vote. And then we told her that's not happening. She's like, what about her middle name being Bunny? That'd be fine, right? No. Just the middle name Bunny. Alrighty. Maybe if she has like 2 middle names. Maybe. Alright guys, so 2nd Chronicles picks up almost immediately after.
First.
Oh, someone's paying attention. Yeah, nope, not 1 Corinthians.
Yeah.
Good try. Good try. Yeah. So 2nd Chronicles right after 1 Chronicles. Basically, what happens in 1 Chronicles is you get everything from Genesis through King Solomon, all pushed into one book. That's 1 Chronicles. You get everything from Genesis to King Solomon, all pushed in one book. 1 Chronicles ended with the death of King David and Solomon taking the throne. Now we start out 2nd Chronicles. That's it. Really, like almost no time has passed. Solomon is on the throne. King David is dead. We move on to the next thing.
Wait, David.
Yeah, King David died.
Wait, how did he die?
He was old.
How old was?
Dang it.
Old enough to die from being old.
How old was it when back then? Like how old was it?
I think he was 77, 78.
How old
Like that.
do you consider it?
What's up?
I said 80. I was close enough.
Yeah, it's close enough.
I was like, how old do you have
Yeah.
to be to consider die old?
Are you?
That's actually a really good question.
Old is
I literally just started.
I know, Alan. Yeah, I think once you're like retirement age now, someone who could die of old age, and people are like, yeah, okay, that kind of makes sense. But it keeps going higher and higher. Right now, I think the average life expectancy is 10 years past retirement. So that's pretty cool.
Well, if you retire when you're 10.
That would be weird. There are people that retire really young. I don't know about 10. That's
Wait, what is
it's like really, really young.
and they make so much money that you
No, I know it's possible. I'm just saying I don't think it's ever happened.
die
I
at
don't
20?
think it's likely enough that it's ever happened. All right, so Solomon, early 20s. We're thinking about 23 based on what we know about this part of the story. This is the beginning of 2nd Chronicles. 2nd Chronicles overlaps 1 Kings and 2nd Kings. It does go one smidge further in time. If you read through the whole book of 2nd Chronicles next to 2nd Kings, it'll be almost one for one. You're going to see a lot of those chapters in both books. And then you get to the very last chapter, and 2nd Kings ends, and 2nd Chronicles goes one notch further in history. They tell you one more thing that 2nd Kings kind of skips out on, and so it goes just a hair past 2nd Kings. But yeah, Solomon, about 23. We're going to jump on in and just read you those first 6 verses, so go ahead and read with me. 2nd Chronicles chapter 1, verses 1 through 6. Solomon, son of David, took firm control of his kingdom, for the Lord his God was with him and made him very powerful. Solomon called together all the leaders of Israel, the generals and captains of the army, the judges, and all the political clan leaders, and then he led the entire assembly to the place of worship in Gibeon, for God's tabernacle was located there. This was the tabernacle that Moses, the Lord's servant, had made in the wilderness. David had already moved the ark of God from Kiriath-Jearim to the tent he had prepared for it in Jerusalem, but the bronze altar made by Bezalel, son of Uri and grandson of Hur, was there at Gibeon in front of the tabernacle of the Lord. So Solomon and the people gathered in front of it to consult the Lord, and there in front of the tabernacle Solomon went up to the bronze altar in the Lord's presence, and sacrificed 1,000 burnt offerings on it. Wow. Okay, so real quick, you guys can see this little map in the background here? Just so you get an idea. Israel, a little smaller than California, about the same size. It has a cluster of very famous cities right around here. Okay, so you've got Jerusalem, the capital. You've got Bethlehem.
What's that?
Pretty famous. You guys have heard of Bethlehem? Yeah?
No.
Place where Jesus was born? No? Yes? Yes? No? Okay, cool. We heard a few place names just now in the story. We heard Kiriath-Jearim, and we heard Gibeon. Okay. Say again?
You forgot Hebron.
We didn't read Hebron, but it exists. We possibly have heard of it. So Gibeon is where the tabernacle is. Kiriath-Jearim is the halfway point because there's some hills right around here. They took the Ark of the Covenant by cart, which was against the rules, over here, and they had a problem. Does anyone remember what the problem at Kiriath-Jearim?
They died.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Good guess, Carter. So they're going along on this cart, and they were told not to use a cart specifically for the Ark of the Covenant. They were not going to use a cart. God told them up front, don't do that. And you got to use these special carrying poles, and you got to get this special family from the clan of the Levites to do the carrying, or I'm not going to be happy with it. You got to follow the rules, guys. And they stick it on a cart, and as they're going down the road on the cart, they go over a bump. The Ark jostles, starts to fall over in the cart, and the guy driving the cart, riding up there with it, reaches over to steady the Ark, and he touches it, and he's not allowed to touch it.
Oh my God.
So he dies. Okay? So they drop off the Ark here as like a, we're afraid to continue move. Like, we don't know how to go forward. We clearly have angered God. We don't know what to do. So they just go knock on some guy's door.
Let's go knock on.
And they're like, bro, you got like a shed out there. Can we stick the Ark in it?
He dies too.
And he's like, why? He's like, some guy died from touching it. Oh. And they're like, we'll pay you. And he's like, oh, okay.
They're gonna die.
So they leave it there for a while. Eventually, David gets his act together, reads through the old scriptures, talks to the priest, figures out, oh, we weren't supposed to do it that way. We were supposed to get the poles and the right priest and move it this way and walk with it. And there's like a whole parade you're supposed to do. So he does that the second time, and he does move it successfully from Kiriath-Jearim to Jerusalem. Now, the rest of the whole kit, the tent of God, the altar of God, the incense thing, the bread table, the lamp, I mean, like all these other pieces in God's holy tent kit are all still set up in Gibeon. They only moved the ark. And previous to this, everything moved together. There's actually like a whole list of families, and it's like these people are in charge of the fence that goes around the ark. They know how to pack it, they know how to walk with it, they know how to store it, they know how to set it up when they get there. And this whole family is in charge of the altar. They know how to take it apart, they know how to put it back together. They know how to clean it. And like the list goes on and on and on. Everybody in the Levite clan had these different jobs, and they pertained to the tabernacle. And so you were supposed to just say, hey, Levites, come do it. And the Levites knew how to do it. They went and had a party and grabbed the ark and brought it home without really doing their homework. So now they've got the ark here in Jerusalem, and the rest of the tabernacle kit is all still set up in Gibeon, and the priests are still using it. They're still doing the sacrifices. They're still burning the incense. They're still doing all the things they were told to do off in Gibeon. And they're about to set up a temple, a permanent version of the tabernacle, with stone and gold and bronze and silver and all these fancy carvings in Jerusalem, and they want the rest of the kit. They want to bring it to Jerusalem. So you've got one piece here, everything else there. So what does King Solomon do? He gets everyone who's in charge, all the leaders, all the generals, all the captains, everyone, and he just walks with them in a little parade off to Gibeon to go get everything. And when he gets there, he doesn't just tear it down and walk off with it. He starts by sacrificing 1,000 things to God. Now that sounds pretty cool. It sounds pretty big, like 1,000 sacrifices.
1,000 chickens.
But I want you to understand, like, what we're really talking about here is like barbecue a whole animal times 1,000. Has anyone here ever raised animals? Did you ever get to partake in what you raised, or did you have to just sell it? You got to actually have it. Yep. Did you get all the meat from your animal?
Yes.
How much meat? And what kind of animal are we talking about?
Rabbit.
Well, we technically shared.
Okay, so you pieced it out. Some people got some?
Yeah, we would get a pig and then another person would get a pig.
Okay. So, like, did you ever get all the meat from one pig at one time? Has that ever happened?
Yeah, I think so.
How much of your car did it fill up? Like, seriously, tell me, how much? I'm curious.
I don't know.
You weren't there that day? Oh, okay. If you butcher an entire cow, it will fill your trunk. Like, just a solid trunk of beef. Like, just completely full. Some trunks won't hold it.
Imagine getting in a car wreck.
Yeah. the other guy gets out. He's like, "Oh no!
There's so much blood.
There's so much! Oh no!" He thinks he killed all of you.
And everybody there's just a bunch of cow on the ground.
How hard did I hit your car? I'm sorry. That'd be just like the worst, the absolute worst. He's just crushed. Oh man. Yeah, Anthony.
Siblings count?
Do siblings count as an animal you raise?
It depends on the sibling.
Ooh, that's tough. I really got to see their bedroom first, and then I can tell you.
Don't go into my.
All right, so. Oh yeah.
Meat chickens every year.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's not exactly the same as like a cow or a pig, but it's kind of the same idea. I mean, if you raise enough,
Also, just like
then yeah, you're gonna get a lot back.
every year.
Oh yeah. Even if you butcher 40 all at once, it's still gonna be a lot. That's a lot. Yeah.
No, I eat 40 chicken legs one day.
That's like one Costco pack. You know? All right, so they go off, they sacrifice 1,000 animals. I want you to really picture in your head what this would look like to do all at once, though. I don't know if you guys have ever gone and seen the butcher, like in the butcher shop, and seen what it looks like back there.
Actually,
It is gruesome at times.
Messy.
Yeah, messy. But 1,000 outdoors in the same place, all getting butchered, back to back to back. And then, as gross as that part is, as wild as that part is,
Like halfway up.
the smell of the barbecue from barbecuing 1,000 animals in a row. That's gonna be a big upgrade, and like it's just gonna go on all day. I mean, it's a massive barbecue. Don't get me wrong. Their barbecue is bigger than a whole cow. It was a really big barbecue, but it's 1,000. And I don't know. Some are probably sheep, some are probably goats, but like it don't matter. It's 1,000. You can't fit more than like 2 or 3 animals on that barbecue at once, even if it's a big barbecue. Doing 1,000, it's gonna be all stinking day. You're just non-stop going. And so just the overwhelming aroma of just delicious cooking meat all day long. And it's all given by the king. It's all as a sacrifice. And so here's what happens. He is setting up his kingdom right. Look at what he's doing. He's taking what he was told by the prior king seriously. I need to get God's stuff to Jerusalem. I want my capital governmentally and my capital spiritually to be in the same place, not just for brownie points with God, but because I want the nation to be led by that idea. I want us to be a nation that puts God in charge of the government. That's what he wants. He wants that to be real. So what does he do? He doesn't just go take the stuff. That was his dad's mistake once upon a time.
1,000 barbecues.
He lights 1,000 barbecues. Not really, but like, he gives 1,000 sacrifices.
Okay, but if he did like...
But the point is not the meat. The point is not like, it smells so good. The point is, he's doing it for God. He's bringing it to God. It's a gift.
Yeah.
So he does that right. He's starting off on the right foot. God, I want you first. God, I want your permission. God, I want you in charge. God, I want you to be glorified, you to be given all the honor and the praise, because you're the one who's given me what I have. I'm just some kid.
Oh, just some kid.
He's a 23-year-old inheriting one of the richest nations in the entire area at that point in time.
That's true.
Like, so in context, yeah, he's just some kid. Okay? 23 getting an entire country. You might not feel like a kid when you're 23, but if you were slammed into the president's chair and given the reins to the entire nation, you'd feel like a kid real fast.
Yeah.
All over again. Okay?
That's legal.
Yeah, you're right. We have an age limit in
I'm
America.
pretty sure you have
It's
to
at
be like
35.
30 or something.
Yeah. All right, so
He turns back on.
if we need to look at the map again, sure.
Oh.
All right, so read with me 7 through 10. He does these sacrifices. Here's what happens next. Because it took all day, that night, verse 7, God appeared to Solomon and said, what do you want? Ask, and I will give it to you. Whoa. Okay, now, if you gave that sacrifice of 1,000 animals and said, hey, God, I want a wish. Grant me my wish. God would probably be like, no.
Yeah, I know. You need about.
But his heart was in the right place, and he was truly just giving out of love to God, honor and respect to God. It wasn't as a trade. It wasn't as a transaction. He wasn't trying to get anything. He was just doing it as an offering, a true sacrifice. So when God sees that true sacrifice, then God wants to bless him. And because he's the king, God doesn't just give him a blessing. God does two things at once here. Number one, he tests Solomon. Number two, he blesses Solomon. Why is it a test?
Okay, I forgot what he said.
It's a test because, like, he could have easily said, oh, I want this, like, worldly things, but instead he asks.
Yeah. So he can ask for anything. It's automatically a test. Because now, what is he going to ask for?
Anything.
It's real simple. You guys win the lottery tomorrow. What do you do with the money? That's a test. That's a test.
I buy something. Invest it.
Immediately, all of our brains
College.
go to what we could buy. Even my brain. I'm much older. I've had to manage my money for years now. I still am immediately in this place of, well, I'll save most of it, but I'm going to buy this. It's so hard to really be given a blank check, really be given like anything you want moment, and to not get greedy. It's so hard. And the bigger the ceiling is on whatever you want, the harder it is, right? If it's the ice cream shop, and they say, have whatever you want, the ceiling is set pretty low. You can't ask for a Lamborghini. You can't ask for gold bars. You can't ask for control of the world. You can't ask for world peace. You can ask for chocolate or vanilla, sprinkles or no sprinkles. You know what I mean? Like, you only have so many options. So you don't get that greedy. Maybe you ask certain questions like, can I have 2 scoops or 1? There's certain questions that come from that. But you're not asking like, how many bowls can I have? Because you're pretty sure when you're taking the ice cream shop and they say, what do you want? They don't mean how many bowls. Okay, if you're like, I'd like 6, please. They're like, what do you mean? 6 bowls of ice cream, please. They probably are just going to say no. When they said have whatever you want, that's not what they meant. There was a ceiling. When God comes to you as the ruler of a nation, it's like, ask and I'll give you anything you want. That's a pretty high ceiling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not God, but where's the limit on that? What do you guys think is reasonable? Now, I'm not talking greedy or not greedy. I'm not talking like prideful or humble, but like just on a legitimate, if God meant anything, and like maybe pretend this isn't a test. And he said, what do you want? I'll give it to you, anything. Where's the actual ceiling on an offer like that? Yeah, Anthony. The world. Like, that's basically it. You ask for the rest of the solar system, he's like, nah, you're not really going to be able to use it. Yeah, Anthony. Or, sorry, I did that one. Yeah, Carter.
No, I feel like the limit would be able to not have to breathe air. So
like, ongoing miracles. No ongoing miracles. That's where I draw the line.
No, so you could go like, into space without like a... You could go
No,
like...
but your head would explode.
How would you even jump that high?
Just ask for infinite jump out.
Dude, not being able to breathe air, you just go underwater. That's the cool part.
Yeah.
You just go swim in the ocean forever. That'd be sweet. All right. Where, like, less jokey, like, where's the actual limit? King is told by God, whatever you want, I'll give it to you. What is the actual ceiling on this? Yeah, Grace.
No roof then.
Sorry, what?
There would basically be no roof.
There's almost no limit. Like, we really just have to think of what's rational. Like, what's real versus what's imaginary. That's kind of where the limit ends up being. This isn't any old king. This is the king of God's chosen nation. This isn't any old God. This is the God who created the heavens and the earth. There's not a lot of limits here. And so this test is a really good test. Because again, the test is stronger, it's harder to pass, the higher the ceiling is. So what happens? Verse 8. Solomon replied to God, you showed great and faithful love to David, my father, and now you have made me king in his place. O Lord God, please continue to keep your promise to David my father, for you have made me king over a people as numerous as the dust of the earth. So, request number 1, do as you said you would do. I don't know about you, but that's about as humble as you can get when it comes to requests. Could you just keep your word? You already promised me much, is essentially what he's saying. That's as humble as it gets, like saying, yeah, open-ended request, thank you, that's really nice of you, but I mostly just want what you've already offered. You get that? Like, that's really humble. That's like basically saying, nah, dog, I'm good.
Nah, I don't want your list.
I don't need anything. I'm good. You've already done enough.
His power.
You've already done enough. No, I think he would definitely draw the line on that one.
Yeah, no, he would.
God number 2, yeah, no thanks.
For a genie.
No thanks.
All
right.
I don't think those exist anymore.
They don't exist.
Verse 10.
They can exist.
Verse 10. He does make a request though. He adds something. What you've already said, and verse 10, give me the wisdom and knowledge to lead them properly, for who could possibly govern this great people of yours? Now, there's 2 things in there that I really want you to pay attention to. Number 1, what he asks for, the wisdom and the knowledge, he states his motive. What's the motive for asking for that? Is it a selfish motive?
Yes.
No. He wants to just lead his people right.
He wants to do what God gave him as a job, and he says, I feel not perfectly equipped for this job you've given me, so what I'm asking for is to be fully equipped for this job you've given me. And I think what I'm lacking in is wisdom and knowledge. I'm only 23. I don't have job experience. I've never ruled anything. I got to watch a great king rule, but that's it. I got to watch. I need wisdom, I need knowledge now, because my job starts now, and I've lost my greatest teacher. So what he asks for is very humble, it's very selfless. He's asking for something that's helping the nation. There's another side to this too, though, and I don't know if it's real. This is just Daniel's brain working. This feels like a snide comment about Israel. Because if you think back to all the stories of Israel, you go from their beginnings to where he's at in history, you walk through it real fast, what you see is, time and time again, the people of Israel turn their backs on God, and it takes a strong leader or a merciful God to keep them going.
Yeah.
Either a strong leader who says, whoosh, quit that, no more whatever that funny business was, or it takes God going, okay, I'll forgive you, come on back. Because just time and time again, they're stubborn, they're dumb, they reject him. It's just over and over and over again. You usually get like one generation that gets it. They saw their parents mess it up, so they decide to do it right. And then you get a generation that saw their parents having blessings left, right, and center, where God's just handling everything for them, and the kids take it for granted. They think this is normal and this is just how life works. So they live godlessly. They live without any connection to God. They don't talk to him, they don't check with him, they don't read his word, they just expect the blessings. So then they walk off from God. And the cycle repeats. They mess everything up, the next generation watches their parents mess everything up, and then they hear from God that they can be turned back to him and they can have the blessings again, and so then the next generation turns back to God and goes back to him. And it just seems to be this tick-tock cycle. One generation gets it, one generation follows God, they get a lot of blessing. Next generation totally just throws God away, rejects him, forgets him, ignores him, messes everything up, all the blessings are pulled off them, life gets stupid hard. The next generation sees all that and goes, maybe we shouldn't live like that. This doesn't seem to be working. Let's try it a different way. And they go back to God. And the cycle repeats. And so Solomon, by saying, wisdom to guide your people, look how he says it. For who could possibly govern those great people of yours? That statement has never actually been true as far as I've seen in history. I don't know where he's getting that from. That someone would need to be an amazing leader because of how great Israel is. That's never actually been the case so far. Maybe it finally is under David. Maybe the nation's grown to such great heights in terms of number of people that it actually requires a genius to govern them because they're so numerous. But archaeologically, I don't see the evidence for that. There are a few million people. It's not impossible. There's a lot of sub-leaders, like under-leaders, governors, family leaders. So far as I can tell, no, you don't have to be a genius to govern them. You have to be a genius to keep them following God. That's really what the skill set he needs. How do I keep them involved with God? How do I keep them focused on God? So, let's see what happens. He asked God for these big requests. Here's what God says back, verses 11 and 12. God said to Solomon, because your greatest desire is to help your people, notice God picked up on the motive there, and you did not ask for wealth, riches, fame, or even the death of your enemies, or a long life. And notice that he says, or even. That means those are the two God expects from most leaders, even the good ones. Death of their enemies, a longer life. Does that make sense? Like, these are the selfish motives that kind of check out with God, because they'll usually align with his plan anyway. Don't die, bad guys die. It's pretty simple, right? And it's not entirely self-serving if you're a good king. If you're actually a good leader, if you're actually leading the people well, if they're actually being blessed because they're following God and that's the result of your leadership, you should live longer. You're doing a good job. Likewise, your enemies should die because they're going to mess it up. It's like, those are decent goals. The first one's not so much. What were the first ones? Was it?
Wealth, riches, and fame.
That's correct. Wealth, riches, and fame. What is the number one thing that people always ask for when they get their genies in the stories?
Wealth, riches.
It's pretty much always wealth, riches, and fame.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. Or if someone falls in love with them. Like, those are the big ones. Wealth, riches, fame, love. That's what people really want when they think they can have anything they want and there's no consequences and there's no cost. That's what they want.
And then they realize taxes.
I was going to say, there's always a cost. There's always a cost. It's one of my favorite things about genies in fiction is that typically there is a consequence in the story, and that's what the author is trying to teach you. That even when you can have a wish granted, there will still be a consequence. Yeah.
What's the difference between wealth and riches?
Ooh, good question. Back then, they lived in a mostly non-monetary society. They were just transitioning from a completely non-monetary society into a monetary society. And if you guys don't understand the difference, money is just when you take a thing that has no intrinsic value or less intrinsic value, and you give it a special quality. You stamp it, you shape it, you print it in such a way that now this is agreed to be worth more than the materials I made it out of. That's what makes it money. Does that make sense? We call it currency. Okay, so it has a current value. There's a value attached to this currently. If you take the pieces and you don't assemble them, you take the pile of ink, you take the pile of paper, you take the machine that prints it, there's no extra value there. The machine is worth what the machine took to make it, the ink is worth what the ink took to make it, the paper's worth what the paper took to make it. Okay? The gold before you turn it into a gold coin is worth the weight in gold. The copper before you turn it into a penny is worth its weight in copper. Okay?
Then once you turn to a penny.
Once you turn into a penny, it has a fixed value. Doesn't matter if the price of copper goes up and down, the penny's a penny. Right? Now, I know there's collectible coins, and that comes later, and that's why currency means current value. Because there could be a later value. You find a Roman coin buried in the ground, it's not worth what it was back then. It's worth more now, and that's an archaeological artifact. Right? It's not current money anymore. So it doesn't have a current value. Does that make sense? Now it's an antique. It's not currency. Yeah.
What if you melt the copper? Wouldn't it technically still be more?
We actually had that problem. The price of copper went past the price of a penny in terms of the weight of copper. So they stopped making pennies out of solid copper.
Oh, that's
If you cut a penny in half now, only the outside little thinner than paper layer is copper. Same with quarters. Quarters are not solid nickel. Nickels are not solid nickel because nickel went up past the price of a nickel.
I have silver dimes.
So and yeah, if you go back in time, you'll find coins that are solid all the way through. They're worth more as metal than they are as currency.
Yeah.
Isn't that silly? But that, we just had to slowly migrate. And that's why paper currency makes the most sense. Because paper is one of those things where you can regrow the material. Whether it's cotton paper or it's wood paper, doesn't matter. You can still regrow the base material on the same plot of land. And so you can start lowering your cost of manufacture to the point where it doesn't matter how worthless a dollar becomes, you can still make a dollar bill for less than $1.
Does that mean?
Does that make sense?
Does that mean I can farm dollar bills and get a ton of money?
Yeah, not really. No. There's no cotton seeds in the cotton dollar bills. Yeah.
Did quarters used to be made out of quartz?
No, they did not. That's good, that's good. I think it was still nickel, just solid nickel. It was just bigger than a nickel.
What are nickels?
So a smaller amount of nickel goes into a nickel than went into a quarter. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think it was nickel.
I have silver.
So wait a second. If we have dimes and nickels, how come the dime is more than a nickel when it's smaller?
That's exactly how currency works. It doesn't matter. You could literally build the whole currency structure backwards, where the penny's made out of the most metal and the quarter's made out of the least. You could build it that way if you wanted to, because it doesn't matter. As long as each one costs less to make than it is worth once you go to spend it, it works out. It doesn't matter if the quarter's cheaper to make than the penny. That doesn't change anything. Because the whole goal is to make the value separate from the cost. That's what makes it currency. Okay? So, sorry, the original question was wealth and riches. Wealth was, I have servants, I have land, I have animals, I have crops. Riches is literally a pile of treasure. Gold stuff, gems, money, all that stuff. That's riches. So in their context, those were completely separate. And today, it would be like saying, my net worth, so that would be like investments, land, businesses, all these different things that contribute to your grand portfolio of assets versus how much money do I have. Now, people might get confused about what each of those are, but they have different meanings. Okay, owning a company is not having money. These are not the same. You might have both, but they're not the same thing. So wealthy might mean you have a lot of money, but it might also mean you own 10 companies. So wealthy is a broader term. Yeah.
Back to the currency thing.
Sure, just for a second, we gotta move on.
I have a 2023 penny. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's worth $10 more than the. It's literally just a 2023 Denver.
Is it like a mixed up print or a stamp or something? Why is it worth extra? If it's a current year. Typically, the current year currency only gets worth extra if they misstamp it somehow. They give Lincoln two noses or something weird like that.
I think we're getting rid of pennies.
It's so weird.
Let's go.
Oh, it was Ansel. Ansel brought me one of the old silver dollars, and there's silver dollars that are silver, and there's silver dollars that are just like quarters. They have a core metal and they have nickel on the outside. And there's 3 different stampings of the mixed metal silver dollars. And the way you tell the difference, I love that they have this online, you can just Google it, is you look at the islands off the coast of Florida on the planet Earth in the top left corner of the coin.
Wait, what?
Because the coin has like an eagle over the moon. And if you look in the distance, you can see the Earth. I kid you not, it's like an Earth of 3 millimeters height. And on the Earth, you can see the United States of America in the outline of North and South America. And off the coast of Florida, you can see 3 islands. And depending on if their shape is like this, or barely there, it's one of 3 stampings, and you have 3 different values. It's like, we sat there and figured it out on Wednesday. It was hysterical. So he ended up having the cheap one, which is really a bummer. And it was still worth like $20. So that's kind of cool. And if it's in perfect condition, you can get it up to like $5 grand. That's the main thing. If you have an old coin that looks like it's new, it's almost automatically worth extra.
I have an 1804 coin that's in mint condition. It's worth $3 million.
That's great. I would love to see it. You should bring it in sometime.
And then I'll make sure.
And then I'll laugh. All right, so God says you asked for something good. You didn't ask for all that stuff you could have asked for. And he says this. But rather you ask for the wisdom and knowledge to properly govern my people. Verse 12, I will certainly give you the wisdom and knowledge you requested, but I will also give you wealth, riches, and fame, such as no other king has had before you or will ever have in the future. I don't know about you, but that's a scary but in the middle of that little paragraph there, and it wasn't scary. Like it just felt scary. Like, yeah, I'll give you what you asked for, but I'll give you all the other good stuff too.
Yeah, I know, it is.
Like, there's a real moment of tension there when God gives you a good thing and then follows it with the word but. That's like, but it will only last for 2 years, and then you'll burn in the fire. Like, ah! But that's not what he does. He's like, but I'll give you extra. Oh, okay.
Why would you say and?
Right? That's such an and moment. Yes, and. Not yes, but. Yes. That doesn't make any sense. But that's how it's worded. So he gives him the wealth, the riches, and the fame. And this is absolutely true. We see this archaeologically. We see this in the other books about Solomon. He goes on to become one of the richest kings who ever lived. We see that in the easily in the wealth that was amassed for the temple. But then the thing is, they gave so much wealth for the temple, you would think there's like nothing left in Israel. All gold has been poured into the temple. There's no gold even left in the ground. But that's not the case. He ends up becoming a master of trade, and he pioneers a new trade system that other countries adopt later on. The Romans end up using it. It's a very powerful, creative use of your kingly authority. He pairs military might with trade. This is not something that other people had really done before, or to this extent, but essentially what he does is he moves goods from place to place under the king's seal, guarded by the military. This effectively puts thievery to an end. If you want to steal something that's being moved from place to place for trade now, as like a pirate, let's say, you have to fight the army to do so. Now, previously, all trade was done privately, and that's pretty normal in most societies. You're moving ships from port to port. Usually it's a company-owned ship. And if you want to hire security, you might, but it's your cost. You have to pay for the security, right? And if a pirate comes along, most of the people on the ship are like, I ain't paid enough for this. And they let the pirates have the ship because they want to live. That's pretty normal. And so the business just has to like write that in. They call it shrinkage. You write in how much you think you're going to lose to thievery every year, how much you're going to lose to piracy every year. You put that into your budget. Like literally, we're going to lose 20% of our ships to pirates, so we need to make over 20% profit. That's like baked in, and you might have extra costs. Maybe the ship will be damaged during the attack. Maybe crew will quit during the attack. You have to write all those costs into your bottom line so you can still make your money. And Solomon says, no, let's just make the army, when we're not at war, work with the transport and the storage of goods. And then they have a job 24/7, 365, and they're always trained, they're always armed, they're always on, they're always ready. And then when we go to war, then they can quit guarding the goods and then go to war. But in the off-season, they just guard all the material. This became huge. It allowed them to put trade centers outside their own borders. They were actually trading with people on a regular basis beyond their own country's borders. And this meant that not only do they have some choice ports on their coastline, but they also have trade locations inland. So if you trade with Israel, they can make a better trade than you can. Because you might be able to get it to the port, but they can get it over to Babylon. You might be able to get it to the port, but they can get it up into the north, way into the mountains. So they'll take it from you, and then they'll make even more money off it. So now you've got a middleman trading empire that's mostly immune to thievery and piracy. That's what Solomon accomplishes. This was his big idea. And it gets copied down the road. When you go a few hundred years in the future, other nations, other empires like the Romans end up doing this kind of stuff, where the Roman Empire uses its military might to guard the resources of traders for a fee, and then the government gets back extra taxes from traders, and traders get their goods protected. It's a pretty genius plan. Pretty genius. So he does all this in Israel before anyone seems to have thought of it. And it makes him, the king and the government, rich, which means the government gets to now spend extra money on its people. It gets to install things people like. Nice roads, big walls, fountains and pretty things that people get to enjoy in the town square. You know, all these public works that everyone else gets to share. So now Solomon gets rich, and the country looks rich, and the company is a big trading partner with all of its surrounding neighbors. So that the kingdom of Solomon becomes more famous, and the word about Solomon as king spreads further than the word about David as king. David was a great king, but Solomon excels beyond him in terms of fame and riches and wealth, just like God said. It's not all good, though. It's not all good. Verse 13.
14 million in horses.
Yeah.
Quantity.
That's a lot of freaking
Just let you know, wait till we get there.
Quantity.
Let's. Oh, darn. Thank you. I was like, what are you saying? I should have just shortened like QTY or something. It was late, okay, Anthony?
No, change it.
Verse 13. Then Solomon returned to Jerusalem from the tabernacle at the place of worship in Gibeon, and he reigned over Israel. Now we are jumping in time as we move from verse 13 to verse 14. But what we're doing is we're summing up the beginning of Solomon's reign. Okay? What are some of the first things he's doing? Here's one of the first things he does. Verse 14. Solomon built up a huge force of chariots and horses. He had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horses. He stationed some of them in the chariot cities and some near him in Jerusalem. The king made silver and gold as plentiful in Jerusalem as stone, and valuable cedar timber was as common as the sycamore fig trees that grow in the foothills of Judah. Solomon's horses were imported from Egypt and from Cilicia. The king's traders acquired them from Cilicia at the standard price. At that time, chariots from Egypt were purchased for 600 pieces of silver and horses for 150 pieces of silver. They were then exported to the kings of the Hittites and the kings of Aram. Now, it looks like part of amassing the horses and the chariots is for resale. So he gets them from partners on one side of the country and he sells them to partners on a different side of the country, playing that middleman role. So his original play is of military goods. And this is an interesting play. If it goes well, it goes really well. What this does is it makes your neighbor's military dependent on you as a trade partner. This means if they attack you, they lose access to the thing that made their military strong in the first place. So as you build up their military, you build up your money and their reliance on you. So as they grow strong, which is what they want to be strong, you get rich and you get a friend. That's a good way to play the game. Because then as you get a strong neighbor, you don't end up with an enemy as your neighbor. You end up with a friend as your neighbor who happens to be strong. That's really smart. Okay? Now the other side of this is it means you have an excuse to have lots of military goods. Because you know what doesn't look good for a new king? I just came into office, let's grow the military huge. What do you think your neighbors are going to think?
You're gonna attack them.
You're going to attack them. That's the first thought. Why is he buying so many horses? What are all these chariots for? Why does he have whole cities dedicated to keep the chariots in order and all the horses in order? What's he doing? One of those cities is kind of close to my border with him. I don't like this. So if you just grow military assets all of a sudden as like a brand new king, everyone's looking at you with that side eye going, I don't know about this guy. He might be a little too warlike. You know his father David, he was a warrior. Maybe Solomon's gonna be more of the same. Maybe we should go fight Solomon while he's young, inexperienced, hasn't finished building up his military. But if you start out amassing military goods and then just sell them on the open market, you don't look like a warmonger. You don't look like someone preparing to go to war. You look like someone who's trustworthy because you're trusting everyone else. If I'm willing to sell you weaponry, I must trust you, right? Doesn't that make sense? This is a psychological game. It's a money game. It's a political game. He's doing it all really carefully. It's really smart on that level. Now, there's a problem with this. If you just buy horses to sell horses, do you end up with horses?
No.
No, you should basically be taking out of your collection of horses as many as you're bringing into your collection. Same with chariots. If you're buying chariots to sell chariots, you should end up with as many as you should end up buying as many as you sell. I don't need to buy 50 chariots if I'm selling 25 chariots. I only need to buy 25 chariots, right? So how did he end up with 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horses? That doesn't check out. That's a few too many. Yeah.
Okay. Is the price for one horse 1,234?
Yeah.
So then why are they so expensive?
Horses are pretty expensive today still.
That's cheap for a horse.
I was gonna say nowadays that's probably way too cheap for a horse. I don't buy horses, but I just, from what I've heard, I don't think that's a normal horse price today.
Yeah, horses also eat a lot.
Well, I know keeping a horse is a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Has anyone bought a horse? How much does a horse cost?
Like,
What's a horse cost?
That's about right.
Oh, is it really?
That was about the amount of.
Oh, okay. Hasn't changed that much. All right. I don't know.
I'll
I'll look it up later. But yeah, I have no clue. No clue. I mean, like, we don't make chariots like that anymore, so it's kind of hard to compare chariots.
Like twice the amount of that though.
Oh, okay. Was yours a special horse?
That's, yeah, she's a professional.
Yeah,
So-
okay.
But
That makes sense.
that's
There's always
like,
going to be a cheap horse in
that's
there.
like a
Doesn't
cheap
matter what
horse.
it is. Yeah,
$1,000 about.
that makes sense. Okay. So he had to make a lot of profit to be able to afford $21 million just for his own army growth. right? This is just spent on the nation. He doesn't get this money back. So to be able to spend this money, he has to make a lot of sales. Because you can't mark up a horse too much or no one's going to want to buy it.
You gotta
Right.
mark it up like a $1 past what you bought it for, and then as you're selling, you're making $1
Yeah,
profit.
definitely, Carter, if you own a business, you got to keep track of your costs. You can't just add $1 to everything. It doesn't work. Because there's transport costs, there's feed between when you bought it
So
and you
add,
sold
like-
it. There's the
That's
people
why
who you
you
pay
use
to
your
do the
parents'
moving of the
bank account.
horses. You know, like,
You can
you
technically,
got to afford all these little costs.
You
We
can
call it
te-
overhead.
you can
You got to
technically,
be able to afford your overhead if you're going to make any profit out the other side.
I'm looking.
you can technically sell all of your products. If you're doing resale, you can technically sell it for 110% of what you originally bought without being.
Oh yeah, no one will bat an eye as long as your competitor down the road doesn't sell it for less, and no one cares. And you can see it easily, guys. Even if you're not keen on commerce, if you drive down the road, just today, check the gas price at every gas station you go past, and check and see what's the range of gas prices. Right now, gas prices are right around $5. They're right around $5.
Chevron's 6.
Go around town, and you will find, I guarantee it, you'll find one station that's got $6 gas.
This one's what?
There's at least one. I don't know why, but they do, and I'll guarantee you something. There are cars there buying gas
Yes.
for $1 more than they have to. I don't know why, but they are. So, I mean, yeah, in commerce, you can easily get away with selling it for extra even when you don't need to. It doesn't matter, yeah.
I was looking online for like Harry Potter merchandise,
Okay.
and like one bag from it was like $70, but then at Barnes and Noble it was like $20.
Yeah, that checks out. That's ridiculous. Yeah, Carter.
I think the reason why that there's that one gas station that costs more is because if they are right by a busy road and people are low on gas,
Oh,
they
yeah, yeah,
stop right there. This is the first one they see.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's an incentive there. I don't have to drive further.
Yeah.
That's the incentive for the buyer.
And that
Totally makes
means
sense.
less gas.
Yeah. There's actually a really simple formula you can do in your head. I'll teach you guys if you want. On like how much miles per gallon your car gets, and then knowing what the price of gas is, like, oh, it's about $5. You can determine how far you should drive to get how much money off your gas. Because eventually it's stupid. Like eventually don't do it.
And eventually, if there's a gas that's $3 and I'm on half a tank, and I need to go all the way over to Reading,
Yeah.
it's not worth it.
No, don't go to Reading for gas. It's ridiculous.
No. And then I gotta drive all the way back.
The other one is just memorize where the cheap gas stations are and just get gas when you're near them.
Daniel, there's this gas station in Arizona that was like $2 a gallon.
Oh yeah, other states have way cheeper gas than us. They have different
Tennessee.
regulations. They literally have different
Nevada
gas in
has
other
cheap
states
gas.
versus California. All right, last question, guys. Is there anything wrong with what Solomon is doing?
Yes.
Okay, if you got a yes opinion or you got a no opinion, you got to tell me why. I want to hear it. Why?
Well, like, was he doing necessarily anything wrong?
I think he's doing.
In what way?
He's doing two things. He's buying and selling and getting the country to be more rich, and he's amassing extra horses and chariots for his own country to use in war.
Well, like, I don't see why he's doing anything wrong because he's
Okay.
doing like stuff for his country for.
Makes sense? Okay, I think I heard a yes though. Someone thought this was wrong, and I wanted to hear their reason why too.
That was Carter.
Carter, did you say this was wrong?
Yes.
The buying and selling and making extra money for the country, and then amassing chariots and horses so the country has their own defenses beefed up. Why would you say that's wrong? One of those or both of those?
You know, now that I think about this,
There's nothing wrong with it? Okay. All right, cool. There is a problem with those answers though. I didn't ask if it would be wrong for us. I didn't ask if it was wrong for you. I asked if it was wrong. And that means you actually need to know the rules God set up for the governing of Israel. Big part of that is Deuteronomy chapter 17. So the next two chapters is we're learning about Solomon and how he rules and reigns, what he does right, what he does wrong. We're going to keep referring back to the list. If you want to see the list in advance, you just go read Deuteronomy 17 on your own time. It starts around verse 14, about halfway through to the end of the chapter. Gives you the rules for a king of Israel. Okay? This is the rule that actually has something to do with today. The king must not build up a large stable of horses for himself or send his people to Egypt to buy horses. For the Lord has told you, you must never return to Egypt. So having heard that verse just one more time, did Solomon do anything wrong?
God, he about horses.
Isn't that weird? Knowing the rules matters. It really matters. Because if I asked you the generic version of the question, you were all pretty confident. Even Carter, who thought the other way for a second, he rethought. He's like, nah, actually, there's nothing wrong with that. But as soon as you read the rule book, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, jump back a second. Now there's one more thing you gotta know. Should Solomon know these rules?
Yes.
Why would Solomon know these rules?
Because he's supposed to know these rules.
That's a great answer. That doesn't make any sense. All right.
He's wise, he said.
I would like you guys to read chapter 17. You don't have to read the whole thing, just the second half. And next week, get a free thing from the snack bar if you can come tell me privately. Don't say it in front of everyone because they're all going to know.
John 3:16.
Come tell me privately. Why should Solomon have known this? You just got to read the chapter. The chapter tells you why. Yeah.
Didn't God give him the knowledge to rule Israel?
Obviously, he said he was going to, but caveat there. He didn't say how long it would take or how he would do it or when he would do it. So it could be God meant over the next 30 years. Could be in the next 5 seconds. Could be a zap of knowledge dump, just like a download, just like straight. He doesn't say. He just says I'm going to do it. So we get to kind of watch the story and see when does it pop into the story, how does it pop into the story, what kind of knowledge is it, what kind of wisdom is it. And I don't want to spoil it because I think it's important the way that God does it. I want you guys to see it as it unfolds. Hannah, did you have something to add, or are you going to say the answer?
That was my question.
Oh, what was it?
If he had knowledge and wisdom, he should have known, and he should have been wise enough to listen.
Yes, that would make a lot of
But
sense.
he's
Yeah.
retarded.
He got a girl.
Oh, was it a joke, Micah? Or were you being serious?
I
or-
didn't call God a girl.
He said yes, ma'am.
Oh, I don't.
Girl.
I don't know if he meant that
never
as like a
said
direct
yes,
answer
yes,
to God.
to everyone.
Yeah, I think you're
Don't say yes,
overreacting.
ma'am.
That's okay. All right, so go read Deuteronomy 17. But the real not right now. I'm not giving you credit now. It's next week.
Yeah,
it's called a homework assignment. You're not allowed to do it here. That's not how homework works.
the Bible.
Yeah, you're allowed to read the Bible. You're not allowed to do your homework at church. Doesn't
I'm
make
not
any
doing
sense.
my homework here.
You can do your school homework
I'm just reading the Bible, Daniel. I'm just reading the Bible. Shh.
Jeez, I'm just reading the Bible.
Can we
All right,
just
so-
tell you today?
He says don't do this, that's exactly what he does. And I want you to see the reasons God has. Number one, he says, I never want you to return to Egypt. What is returning to Egypt?
Returning to slavery.
Returning to slavery? Okay, you can take it that way. I don't think that's wrong. Don't go back to being slaves. I think that's accurate, yeah?
Leaving God's promise.
Leaving God's promise, that's huge. God said to David, Solomon knew it. David said it over and over again. In scripture, I'm betting he said it a few times that aren't even recorded, okay?
I have it.
Solomon knew this stuff. If you trust in God, God will win the battle for you. If you trust in yourself, you have to win the battle. And that's not always easy. It's not always possible. As soon as you go and you start buying and selling military resources so that you can win a battle, you're not going to God to win the battle. You're not trusting in Him to win the battle. Now, there might be an exception if you went to God and said, God, how do we win? And He's like, go to Egypt and buy horses. Like, that would be an exception, okay? That'd be fine.
Stop with the horses.
But as far as I can tell, since God already put this on the record, He wouldn't give you that answer. If He wanted you to have horses, He'd come up with some other way, because He already said specifically, don't buy military resources from Egypt. Don't do it. So I know if you went and you asked Him, He's not going to go back on that. He's going to give you some other out. He's going to give you some other option. He's going to give you some other way to win. Oftentimes, God just didn't care to give you the resources at all, and He's just like, yeah, just go there. Just show up at the battle. I'll win it for you. He doesn't do it every time, but He does it a lot. Like 300 guys show up to fight 10,000. He's like, yeah, it's fine. I'll win for you.
Yeah, so just
He
kind of
does it all the
show
time.
up, look at them, and they'll just be defeated.
It's literally just show up to show your faith. Show up to show you're not scared because you know God's on your side. Boom, God wins for you.
Yep.
He does it all the time for them, okay? Now, sometimes He actually just multiplies their resources. He gets guys from everywhere to come help them. He does it both ways, however He wants to each time. But He said specifically don't do it that way. And that's what they do. So the lesson for you guys is this. It's really simple. It is tempting at times when God's actually given you a call, He's given you a goal, you know that the end result is good, right? Isn't the end result good? Protect Israel. Good end result. Love it. Awesome. Nothing wrong with that end result. That doesn't mean you get to make up the game plan on how to do it. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean you get to just invent things out of thin air and go, well, I think we should do it this way, so we're going to do it this way. That's not okay. And the same with you guys. If you have a great goal in mind, oh yeah, this is going to help my family. Yeah, this is going to set me up for my future. Yeah, this is going to spread the gospel. Awesome. It doesn't mean you get to just say, okay, I've got my goal in order. Now I can stop talking to God. I prayed about the goal. Why do I need to keep praying?
Stupid.
That's stupid. If God wants you to accomplish something, he wants to accomplish it with you. If God wants you to beat an enemy, if God wants you to, finish a task, if God wants you to learn something, if God wants you to become something, he wants to be with you in the process. He wants to be with you every step of the way. He's not just going to give you your marching orders and say, get out of here.
Get out of here.
He never does that.
Scoundrel.
And Solomon, I think, is kind of doing that. He's going to God the first time. Awesome. Made all these sacrifices. Awesome. Had his heart in the right place. Awesome.
Awesome.
But he's a smart guy, and so once he gets the power and the throne and the control, he just starts thinking, now, well, how can I do this? And he comes up, honestly, with logistics and strategy, a great plan. It's a fantastic plan, and it works really well at first.
At first.
It does. It's a very good plan by all human standards. But if it moves him away from God, it's not going to have a good long-term result. Now, it might take a while for that consequence to fall on him, and we'll see it does. It takes a little while. But it's a very certain consequence. It's not like during all the time between the action and the consequence, it was uncertain and maybe there'd be a consequence. Nope. As soon as he did this, there was a consequence in store. It was just waiting for the right moment because there's a few more dominoes that have to fall. And I like that for a few reasons. Number one, it means God saw the future when he made this statement. He knew you do this, there's going to be a consequence. There's absolutely no questions asked going to be a consequence. But number two, because there's multiple dominoes on the way there, multiple things you have to get wrong before the big consequence hits you, it means you have options to get out from your own stupidity before the consequence lands. That's really cool. And so, Solomon will have several chances to course correct, several chances to get this back online. Hey guys, can we quit it with the kissy noises? Thanks. Appreciate it.
It was a contest.
It was a terrible contest. No one won. You all lost. That's usually. It's the same with you guys. There will be chances in your life where you are going at a good thing the wrong way, and you're going to have a few chances to course correct. I want you guys to look hard for them, to spot them as best you can. Here's the ways you spot them. You find out later on there was a rule that God made that directly said don't do it that way. That's a really good fail-safe. If you're doing something you think is right and you've made up the game plan on your own, and later you find out God just says, don't do that, that's a really good marker for you didn't talk to him, did you? You came up with the game plan on your own. When we're done with 2 Chronicles, we're going to pause in our trudge through history as we're going piece by piece, book by book. We're going to pause and we're going to go over to the book of Proverbs.
Isn't that like super far ahead?
Well, because of how long 2 Chronicles is, yes. But Proverbs is written by Solomon. Now, 2 Chronicles is going to start with Solomon. He's going to die, I think, like 9 to 10 chapters in. Maybe it's even... No, it's 9. It's 9 chapters in, he dies. So he's in there for the first 9 chapters. Then we get into future kings past Solomon. Proverbs is written by Solomon. So when we're done with the book, I mean, I'm thinking about it. Maybe we'll pause at chapter 9 and go to Proverbs. I don't know. I'm not dead set on it yet. Eventually, though, we'll jump over to Proverbs. We'll see the congealed, consolidated wisdom that Solomon learns while he's king. And it is full of probably the longest list you've ever seen of things you should not do that aren't all necessarily sins. These are not just like a repeat of the 10 Commandments, okay? They're life situations, and then Solomon follows them with, and the fool would do this, and the wise man would do this. So these aren't necessarily like, lie, don't lie. Okay, they're not all that simple.
Don't kill, don't kill.
Yeah, no, it'd be kill, don't kill. Those are both don't kill.
Don't kill. Kill them, one of those.
These are often like how you do it. Okay? So as we read through Proverbs, you're going to see he has a lot of wisdom he learns. We'll also learn in 2 Chronicles how he learned that wisdom, how he got it. Okay, so that's it. Check yourself, check the rule book, decide whether or not your plan is good by the simple criteria. Did you get it from God? Did you talk to him? Simplest criteria there is. All right, let's pray. Lord, we thank you for your word and that you have revealed not only the basic rules, things like the 10 Commandments of what is right and what is wrong, but you've also revealed your wisdom to us. Not just the exact what you should and should not do, but more than that, God, you've given us the how. You've even given us the why. You've shown us how our heart should be positioned towards you, how it should feel about other people. And so we just ask, Lord, that you be shaping us, shaping our hearts into those people that love others and love you above all else. That are motivated by that love for others, that are motivated by that love for you. Help us to not only have those right goals like we saw in Solomon, but Lord, to submit our plans to you. We want to do things your way in all things. We want to please you, Lord, not just in our goals, but the how we live. And so we're asking, Lord, for direction. We're asking for instruction. And like Solomon, Lord, we too, we're asking for wisdom. Give us that keen insight into how we should live, how we should act, how we should pray. I ask for that blessing, Lord, on each of these middle schoolers here today, that you would just fill them up with your wisdom, help them to be wise beyond their years, to see things as you see them, and to decide rightly. But to always make that decision to talk to you. That is the first and the best decision we make in all matters. Do we talk to you or don't we? Help us, Lord, to do that most of all. With our heads still bowed, with our eyes still closed, if there is someone here who doesn't have that close, that tight relationship with Jesus where you can just talk to him about everything all the time, you don't have his forgiveness yet, you don't have that completely new life he wants to give you, where you're just filled with a life fully devoted to him, then I offer it to you right now, just as he does. He says that you can come to him in faith, asking for his forgiveness, repenting of your sins, and he'll give you that forgiveness. He'll give you new life. He'll adopt you into his family. He'll give you eternal life. He wants to live with you for the rest of yours. If that's you this morning and you want that right now, just raise up your hand and I'll pray with you. And you can have that. Anyone here this morning? Thank you, Jesus, for these middle schoolers. Bless them as they go. Bless them throughout this week. Fill them up with wisdom and use them to reach others. We pray that in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. See, that's exactly where you put your phone.
The question wasn't what does it say. The question is
we were trying.
why should the king know? And you have to tell me next week.
Wait, no,
You can't tell me now. It's called homework to read. That works.
You do homework at school.
No.
You aren't allowed to do. Why is mine the first?
Ever feel?
When you're done, can I put my phone in there?
Mine is always freaking the first. Ooh, I got 10. I never win. Who watches? Daddy. I don't think I'll watch.
No one likes it.
Daniel. Daddy! Don't get you watching 10 seconds is mine.
That's literally not how it works.
Yeah. Finders keepers.
Daddy!
He left.
I know, that's why I was yelling.
Oh, I already figured it out. I know.
But what if my Bible is separated in 3 parts?
No.
Can someone yell for Danny to come back?
Where's my? Well, I like more so.
I'm pretty sure it's Micah said.
Can I see my phone?
No, you cannot fail him.
See, but you only carry 1 chair.
Yeah, so that, because every time I make the whole stack fall if I don't.